Hi, this is Borris again, and I collect model toy soldiers. This video is number 17 in the collection, and if you enjoy these videos, please subscribe. The encouragement is very worthwhile. These figures can all be made available for sale. They're from my personal collection, and I can be reached at danielborris@yahoo.ca. This first grouping is Monongahela, a battle that was fought in 1755 during the French-Indian Wars. General Braddock commanded a British incursion. The mission was to venture to the forks of the Ohio River and remove French presence from the region. Interestingly, his aide-de-camp was George Washington, who covered himself with glory, and on Braddock's death he led the retreat and warned Dunbar and the British reserves of the impending attack from the French and their woodland Indian allies. This smaller force of French and woodland Indians was led by de Beaujeu, who defeated the British and caused great slaughter to them at the Monongahela River. Of 1,500 British, 1,000 were killed or wounded. Initially, the battle was fought in the woods, where the British had difficulty deploying, although they managed one cannon. The figures are John Jenkins and Frontline. The total pieces in the set piece are 2 mounted, 1 cannon and 55 foot. This next grouping is Indian Army and Scots soldiers abroad. It takes only a little imagination to see all of the regiments depicted here serving together in India. From the 7 sets depicted, 6 are designed and sculpted by the Scrobies. 5 sets are Star Limited editions and 1 Blenheim. The 7th set is from William Britton's. The regiments depicted are the Gurkhas, the 29th Bombay Regiment, Coke's Rifles, the Corps of Guides, the Gordons, the HLI and the 72nd Highlanders. This next group is another Donald Featherstone frame. It shows the Russian and Austrian allies who fought against Napoleon. There are 109 mounted figures in this collection and 510 foot figures. The manufacturers tend to be minifigs, that which we call new minifigs, for approximately 2/3 of the total, those being largely the Russians. And then the Austrians are the generation of miniature figurines that preceded what we're calling new minifigs. But bear in mind, even the new minifigs are antique figures. This next grouping is named the Southern Cross. It depicts Confederate infantry taking a Union gun, and it is by Don Trelawney. He is a military artist, and the figures are actually a depiction of a limited edition military print that he made. And in turn, this set is a limited edition also. The next set is the Donald Featherstone Collection's articles, written by Donald over a number of years. There are also war games maps on blockboards and British Model Soldier Society bulletins. In addition to buying over 4,000 war games figures and 41 original book manuscripts from Donald Featherstone, I bought some 74 original articles he'd written for various magazines and 57 blockboard war games battle maps. I also bought his collection of British Model Soldier Society journals, the bulletin. They go from 1957 onwards. He took to initialing the corners of each issue as time passed, and all notes and comments over the years in these bulletins are made by Donald's hand. In 1957, Carmen was the president, and Rennie North and Freddie Green were both officers of the British Model Soldier Society. The articles show what the collectors of that era were interested in and talking about to each other. The past comes alive. The group consists of 133 British Model Soldier Society bulletins, 57 original blockboard terrain maps, and 74 original articles written by Donald and published in various magazines. The next grouping is the US Army and West Point Cadets. This set consists of two boxed William Britton's hollow-cast antique sets, one depicting the West Point Cadets, set number 226, and the other US Infantry on slouch hats, set number 242, and a set of 5 US Army Cavalry in khaki, also Britain's hollow-cast. In addition, we have a set of Blenheim figures representing the West Point Cadet Colour Party. Finally, there are 3 figures from my childhood, hollow-cast Timpo GIs. Andy Nielsen of King and Country told me once that these GI figures were his favourites as a child. Understandably, we both bought them at the same corner store in our hometown in Renfrew, Scotland. Howdens, maybe? They are magnificent examples of the toy soldier design sculpted long ago, in this case by Roy Selwyn Smythe, a long-term sculptor for William Britton's and responsible for the original Knights of Agincourt series. Total figures in this group, 6 mounted and 23 foot. This next grouping are antique military vehicles from William Britton's, and the group consists of the very rare volunteer ambulance, the heavy-duty underslung searchlight truck, 1 4-wheel and 1 6-wheel truck, 1 Bren gun carrier, 1 motorcycle with machine gunner in sidecar, 2 motorcycle dispatch riders and 2 cannon. Total of 10 pieces of equipment in this grouping. This next grouping I call Scotland Forever. And what we see are a group of Scottish soldiers at bay, with French Old Guard and line infantry advancing. The Duke of Wellington is mounted on Copenhagen and looks on. There are 11 Scottish foot, including 2 standard bearers. There are 3 mounted figures, All are king and country, with the exception of the wounded Scots Grey and the Iron Duke, who are from Frontline Miniatures. There are 3 Old Guard infantry from William Britten's, 1 Old Guard standard bearer, that is a Russian figure, painted by me, and 2 French line infantry standard bearers from King and Country. Total figures in the group, 17 foot and 3 mounted. This next grouping represents 3 bands playing at the halt. My Uncle Jim played in a brass band when I was a kid. He took me to see the bands play from the bandstands in public parks all over Scotland. In my era, it was more of the Rolling Stones and Blind Faith giving free concerts in Hyde Park. This grouping shows 3 bands at the hall from Blenheim Miniatures, right down to the music stands. They are the King's Scottish Borderers, a line infantry band, and the Salvation Army. Each has their own conductor, but the supreme position is taken by a Grenadier Guard music master positioned on the podium. It is a William Britten's Collectors Club figure. Total for this group, 37 foot figures and accessories. This next grouping shows 3 box sets of William Britten's holocasts. One is the Argentinian Cadets, a rare set. The next is Via Lifeguards, and the third is a box set of dispatch riders, motorcycle dispatch riders. All William Britten's holocasts and all rare.